Twix a candy bar renowned for its caramel, cookie base-filled center, and decadent chocolate outer covering. It's no secret that it stands as one of the world's most beloved chocolate-covered candy bars. But how is this deliciously flavored bar actually made? Today at Whole Process, we're going to take a trip to where the magic happens. But first, how did this crunchy chocolate goodness even come to be? Planned and made by Forrest Mars Jr., Twix was first produced in the UK in 1967. Though Forrest wasn't new into the candy business, his grandfather Franklin Mars was the creator of their magnate business, whose legacy he continued. Forrest Jr. wanted to craft something different, not just another chocolate bar, but a treat that captured the British love for biscuits. In Britain, a biscuit was a crunchy companion to tea. So Forrest fused that biscuit tradition with the indulgent caramel and chocolate combination Mars was famous for, creating Twix. Though here's where an important twist shows up in this story. Twix wasn't always named the same thing. In fact, when it was first introduced in the UK in 1967, it went by a completely different name, Raider. Raider lasted for decades in Europe, but by the 1990s, Mars wanted one global identity for the bar. That's when Raider transformed into Twix, with a new name that stuck around the world. Later, due to popularity and general well-received public opinion, Twix was also launched in the US in 1976. But how did this candy bar get its unique name? Well, the reason for naming them Twix has everything to do with how they are packaged, which we'll be getting into soon. But for now, let's step into the factory. The base of the Twix bar is its biscuit center, and it plays a crucial part in how the candy is made. It acts as the foundation of that moment when you take a bite into the bar and that crispy crunch sounds in your mouth. But do you know what ingredients make this possible? Well, we don't know either because Mars keeps the ingredients under bolted doors. It's a top-secret recipe that most are dying to get their hands on. Their secret ingredients are tossed in after being meticulously measured and weighed out. Then, these exact proportions are added into heavy industrial-grade mixers. It's crucial that during this process, there's no mistakes, because even slight differences in the amount of ingredients added can change the flavor of the dough completely. The dough is then rolled out to make a completely flat canvas, creating the base for the iconic bar shape that is the building block for this delicious chocolate. But here's the catch. It has to be exactly the same thickness every single time. Why? Because one uneven cookie could throw off the whole Twix experience. While most wouldn't mind a larger than average bar, no one wants a super small Twix, especially not us. To get to the final biscuit shape, the dough is pressed into shape using brass molds. Why brass? And also why molds? Because molds release the dough in uniform shapes, and the brass ensures it is all done cleanly without sticking. And this creates those little holes in the cookie. Though, here's where it gets interesting. Did you know that these holes aren't random? They help the dough release from the molder and later allow the chocolate base to lock onto the cookie. A clever and well-thought-out solution to the pesky problem of having your biscuit dough stuck in the molds. But there's still the most important part of the biscuit making left, baking. So off they're sent to the oven. However, this isn't your average kitchen oven. It's a 100-foot-long tunnel designed to bake thousands of cookies at once, created to make sure the baking process takes the least amount of time. The shaped dough biscuits are laid flat on the conveyor belt ovens, which display how innovation and technology has changed the manufacturing world, even in the food businesses. The impeccable temperature control ensures each one maintains its signature crispiness, all without burning. The result is a perfectly tan-colored cookie with a snappy texture, giving that crunchy first bite, perfect for the other layers to come on top. From here, these little fellows are sent through a thorough inspection. After all, you don't want to get a bad batch in your own Twix packet. The quality check ensures that each biscuit is uniform in size, color, and even crunch. And once these biscuits cool, it's time for the sticky part of this process. Most people don't consider it to be the trickiest to tackle, but caramel has always been known for its unforgiving nature in the candy world. A temperature that is too high or too low can absolutely destroy all your hard work. Too soft, and it drips off the biscuit. Too hard, and you'll break your teeth. Twix engineers, yes, engineers, have spent decades perfecting that golden middle ground, which is why everything carried out in the Twix factories is heavily monitored, so you can have that perfectly uniform and gooey caramel oozing into your mouth every time you take a bite of their candy bar. Though, here's something most people don't realize. Before the caramel goes on, Twix gets its first hit of chocolate. A thin layer of chocolate is spread across the biscuit. The reason why isn't concrete, but certain practices claim it's so that the moisture from the caramel doesn't make our crunchy cookie soggy. We doubt anyone would look forward to biting into that. It's here, though, that the caramel portion of the process comes in to take center stage. Mars uses about 45 tons of caramel a day, carefully kept at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, could you take a wild guess in the comments as to what they use? Large industrial-grade rotating drums to maintain the temperature. The rotating portion of the drums makes sure the sugar in the caramel doesn't stick to the sides. Not expected, but it certainly makes sense given the context and the large amount of ingredients needed to be mixed. Soon, this sweet, cloying concoction takes on the shade of a lovely honey golden brown, liquid gold as we like to call it. It then gets piped onto each of our previous biscuits from automated nozzles as they pass by on their conveyor belts. Each nozzle deposits the exact amount of caramel in ribboned repetition, with it being soft enough to not chip a tooth every time you take a bite, but also firm enough to hold its shape. The cooling tunnels help with the latter, making sure that the caramel is set just right so it can prepare for the real magic that's about to come very soon. And like always, here comes the scheduled series of quality checks and supervisors ensuring that there's even distribution and no overflow on each biscuit. Not that we'd mind that in any case, of course. After which, these rectangular sweet treats are sent on their way to the final, most delicious layer. Each strip is fully covered in delectable and silky milk chocolate, but if you think the manufacturer stops here, you'd be wrong. They add a unique finishing touch that is central to the Twix bar. Every Twix has a little swirl design on top, a decoration made using a combination of vibration and air jets as the chocolate sets. Once coated and decorated, the bars glide through a cooling tunnel, where the chocolate solidifies into that smooth, glossy shell we know so well. Rows of these mouth-watering Twix bars shoot down high-speed conveyor belts, getting sealed into their signature gold wrappers at a rate of 3,000 per minute. Then, they're grouped into twin packs, multi-packs, or cartons, ready to ship to stores all over the world. Remember when we earlier pointed out the origin for their name? Here's the answer to that tidbit. Twix bars are packaged in a unique way. There are 2 bars in one pack, which is why they are named Twix, from the mixture of 2 words, twin sticks, leading to the age-old debate. Left or the right Twix? Today, let's put an end to this discussion forever on which side tastes better. Some people swear the left Twix is crunchier. Others say the right Twix has creamier caramel. But here's the secret. They're actually identical. So why does this playful feud exist? The simple answer is, people love to take sides. Popular feuds like Coke versus Pepsi and Apple versus Android dominate the market. So they decided to make their own funny spin on it. By splitting Twix into left and right, Mars created an artificial rivalry that instantly made the brand more fresh, especially since Twix had been on the market for 50 years. By the 2000s, it needed a fun new hook. The left versus right gimmick gave it new life without changing the product. Though the crazy part here is how long it takes to make a complete product from scratch. From start to finish, it takes about 25 minutes to make a Twix bar. From a lump of dough to a full-blown chocolate bar in less than half an hour is no small feat, but it's made possible by the Twix factory and its modern technology. Of course, Twix isn't just their most popular bar. In fact, they have multiple other lines of chocolates and flavors. However, when it comes to popularity and that feeling of childhood nostalgia, linked with events like trick-or-treating and more, Twix takes the lead. So the next time you tear open that golden wrapper, remember Twix's winding journey. A story that started in England as Raider, crossed the ocean to America, and eventually became a global icon. A collection of crisp cookies, silky caramel, and smooth chocolate, all coming together in just 25 minutes on a Tennessee assembly line. All to reach grocery stores near your house, so the next time you're browsing the aisles looking for a sweet treat, they are sitting there, just within your reach. Now, the only question we are curious to hear an answer for is, are you Team Left Twix or Team Right Twix? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you want more sweet behind-the-scenes looks at how your favorite treats are made, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you next time.